friends, welcome back to my channel. So it's time for another weekly garden tour, and I wanted to take you along and show you what was happening in my garden today. It is July the 9th, so it's almost the beginning of second week of July, and there's a lot of new flowers that are coming into bloom, and I just wanted to take you along and show you what the garden was doing. Also, it's been really dry here. It hasn't rained for a long time, and the ground is really dry and the plants are suffering a bit. So if something is not looking its best, it's because there hasn't been a lot of rain, and I do not have irrigation in my garden, so I usually just hand water everything, and it's been quite challenging to stay on top of everything. So if things are not looking good, it's because of the severe drought that we are going through, and I am trying to be water wise and trying to water just the essentials and all of that. So the garden is suffering a little bit, but regardless, there are lots of things that are looking beautiful, and I want to show you what it looks like today and take you along, and let's see what's blooming in my garden today. So at first, I want to show you this beautiful pot of calendula. This has been coming to bloom, and it is just filling in, and I love how tall it's getting and how much it's filling this pot. And honestly, it's just a pack of seeds that I threw in here, and I am really impressed by how quickly they germinated and from germination to bloom. And they look beautiful. I love the pop of color. It just love the yellow and the orange. It has a mix of both colors in the blooms, so it just looks really beautiful. And I also found some petunias on clearance that I stuck in this pot over here, and I had also thrown in some seeds there that are starting to grow as well. So we'll see what happens in that pot, but for now it is looking colorful and it's looking beautiful. And I have a beautiful lily that has come into bloom here. This is the Ruby Spider Lily by Proven Winners. Isn't that beautiful? Look how big that bloom is. It is just stunning. And what I love about this time of the year is that a lot of the lilies are coming into bloom, and it's looking really pretty in the garden with the big giant blooms. And I have this Gora, which has been continuously flushing out these blooms, and they look like little butterflies dancing in the wind, and I love the movement they offer in the garden, and I just love how that looks in the garden, along with this verbena. There's been so much Verbena bonariensis blooming in my garden, and along with the Gora, it adds so much height and texture in my garden. I just love how this looks in the garden. I hope it self-seeds everywhere and comes back next year. I also plan to save some seeds, so we'll see how this plant does. But the Gaillardia is blooming non-stop since I planted it, and the bubblegum soup petunias are spreading and looking gorgeous. I love how they look. The lavender is also in full bloom, and it's also moving along with the verbena and the Gora, and they look so pretty in the garden. The roses are currently resting. They haven't really, they are slowly developing new buds and a next set of blooms. So this is the Munstead Wood. It already has lots of buds, so it's going to bloom soon. And lots of other salvia. This is the Rock and Blue salvia, which is putting on a lot of growth, and it should bloom soon. And I also have the anemones that are constantly blooming in the garden, and they're looking really pretty. And Geranium Roseanne, as usual, is going to continuously bloom, and I love how it's filling in and looking beautiful. And I still have these also easy double red roses blooming and looking really pretty. Yeah, I don't know if the sun is causing a weird shadow in the garden, but I just couldn't resist to do a tour right now because the garden is looking really colorful. So this is where the Echinacea has come to life here, and it's looking super colorful, super beautiful. I have lots of different mixed cone flowers. There's yellows, there's oranges, there's pinks, all kinds of colors that are blooming here. I don't know if this is doing justice to the colors that are there. I also have a Liatris that I recently planted in there, which is blooming, and it's looking really gorgeous and adding that height in the bed. And I also moved some of my dahlias from the container into my garden beds recently, and they are sulking a little bit, but I think as they get more sunshine here and they get going, they would look really pretty in the spots. I added 3 of them, and I had to support them because they were a little bit droopy when I brought them out here, and I think they are perking up right now and they're looking really nice. So yeah, the garden beds are really filling in and looking awesome right now. This is like the height of summer, beginning of summer, and it's really coming to life with all these vibrant colors. I also have a Sweet William here. This is Diabunda. It has a double color. It's so pretty as well, and looking really pretty in the garden. Just stunning. And then I also have my Quickfire Standard, which is about to open blooms, and it's looking really pretty and delicate and wispy, and I love how that looks. And over on this side, lots of lavender again, lots of verbena. I'm sorry if the sun is casting a weird shadow, but I just wanted to catch the beauty of these flowers in the sun. It's just gorgeous. Lots of verbena. I also have a lot of calendula in here that I threw seeds off, and it is just now starting to open and bloom and filling in some of the gaps in here in my bed, and it's looking really pretty. I also have Bobo and Quickfire Fab hydrangeas, which are about to open. Like the Quickfire Fab is almost open, and it's a very beautiful flower. It's got a different shape in the flower. It almost looks more star-like. It's a beautiful different bloom, and I love how this is looking in the garden. It's new in my garden, and I'm excited to have this plant in this spot. It's just beautiful. And over here, a lot of the plants are I think that Cadmint needs to be trimmed back. It's kind of done its first flush of bloom, so I have to come in here and trim it back. And not a lot fully blooming, but everything is lush and looking really beautiful in the garden right now. The sea holly is in full bloom, and it looks really gorgeous. I love the color of that purpley blue color. Looks amazing. And I also have some moonshine yarrow that is blooming very happily in this heat and drought, and it's super happy in that spot, and I love it in that spot. It looks really beautiful. Adds a beautiful punch of yellow color and looks amazing in contrast with all the other blues and all the other purples that I have going here. And then I also have this Coreopsis here, which has also been blooming for a long time, and it's looking great. And I do have an Agastache here, which is coming to bloom next, and it's going to look really beautiful. It's got a nice presence in my garden, and it's going to look really beautiful when it's all blooming. And I also moved a dahlia in this spot here because I removed 4 or 5 of dahlia plants from my container because I felt like they weren't getting enough sun and the leaves were turning this pale color, and I think they needed to be in the garden, so I moved them in the garden. And then I have this wave of coneflowers here that is coming into bloom, and isn't that looking so beautiful? That is gorgeous. I love the colors of the coneflower together. This is reds and pinks here and looks amazing. And then I have a hibiscus here. This is a semirific hibiscus that I also planted in this spot, and it is, I think this one is called Evening Rose or something like that. It's got a nice bright pink flower. And lots of daylilies about to open here, so I'll show them to you in my next video. But this is what the front garden bed is looking like right now, and I'm just loving how everything is bursting in color, looking so beautiful, filling in, and it's just so lush this time of the year. I'm really enjoying the garden with all of these beautiful blooms and how it's looking. Let me walk over and show you the driveway garden and what that's doing right now. Garden, lots of echinacea coming into bloom here and looking really pretty. Lots more blooms to come here, and lots of yarrow also blooming in this garden bed. And I have some scabiosa, some blanket flower as well here, and I do have an empty spot here which I have to think about and what I'm going to plant there. So If you have any suggestions for me what I could put here, do let me know in comments below. I would love some suggestions for this spot here, what I can add there to add a little bit more pizzazz to this bed, or just to kind of in the front something lower maybe. Would love some ideas. And here is more yarrow, and I also have a butterfly bush here, a black knight, which is also blooming a little bit as well, and it's looking really pretty in this spot in contrast with all the pinks. This rose I did a lot of deadheading on it, so it should put out some new blooms soon. But the garden here is looking pretty nice, very pink, and my hydrangeas are also getting ready to bloom here, and they're looking really full and lush as well. Hopefully we get some rain soon, and that should jumpstart a lot of these plants. So I'm going to now walk over and show you my side yard, and let's see what's happening there. Here is another view of the garden, the front garden bed from where I am. Looking really pretty. So let's go into the side yard and I'll show you what that is looking like today. There are some roses on this side here that are blooming and looking really vibrant. So this is my little hidden spot secret garden that I have on the side, and when I'm sitting on my porch I really enjoy looking at this garden because it offers me a lot of color, and it's so pretty and serene, this spot, when I'm sitting on my porch. I love looking at this spot. And I also have some tomatoes that I put in these pots over here. Tomatoes, I have a curry leaf plant and a couple of tomatoes. Lots of tomatoes were just so much on clearance recently. I couldn't resist, and I planted them in these pots that I had here because they were really like, some of them were being given away for free, so I just had to bring them home and pot them, so I did that. And here is the side garden. Side garden is come a long way. It's looking really full and lush. I love the daisies. They are still blooming and continue to put out new buds and blooms. And the echinacea has come to life as well in this garden, and it's going to soon be full of echinacea, and it's going to look really pretty. This beautiful purple dianthus has been blooming as well for a really long time. When it's done blooming, I'm going to shear it back, and I should hopefully see some more blooms on it. And then I also have this beautiful Florentina rose, which has been blooming here, and it is the most gorgeous red rose. If you're looking for a red rose, I recommend this Florentina rose. It's just stunning, and it smells wonderful as well. Beautiful rose. And in the back there I have a lot of echinacea. I actually have balloon flower, and I have echinacea that is just coming into bloom. Isn't that pretty? I love these balloon flowers. They just look so pretty. They're like, the buds are like little balloon pops, and then they pop open and they look gorgeous in the garden. And I have a lot of echinacea in the back there, and a quick fire that is also opening in the back there. And I also have phlox and black-eyed Susan to come in that spot. So this is going to look very colorful in a little bit as well. And I also have more blooms on this pink flower here, which is also looking so pretty, especially with all these lavender blooms. Aren't they gorgeous? Just stunning. And let me tell you, these poppies, they are running wild here, but I don't have the heart to cut them back because they are so beautiful. But all of my echinacea is kind of popping through this poppy kind of field, and it's just looking beautiful. Look at this echinacea. Isn't that beautiful? Look at the color there. These are just stunning, and they are kind of peeking through all of this poppy, and I don't have the heart to cut them back because they are still constantly blooming and looking beautiful. I'm gonna have to come in here and clean them up once they are done blooming. But for now, this is still looking stunning, and this has been going for weeks and weeks and weeks. So I love that about it. A lot more echinacea here. That's also blooming and looking really pretty. So the garden is alive here. I love this back garden because I do sit out here in the mornings and have my coffee, and I love this spot because it's so colorful. There are so many pollinators that are constantly here, and it looks beautiful. And this is my little container that I put some canna bulbs, and I put portulaca seeds in here, and they have germinated, and they should start blooming soon as well. So this is like a home planter with seeds and bulbs, and it's doing really well. It's slow, I mean, it's taken its time to grow, but I think it's going to be really rewarding when it's blooming. Going along the back garden, this is another lily that has come to bloom. This is the Chicago Peace Lily or something like that. It's a beautiful, vibrant, bright yellow lily. If you're looking for a lily, it's beautiful yellow lily that is going to be blooming here. And I think I also have a tiger swirl lily in there as well, and it's going to also look really pretty there. And there is some milkweed, butterfly weed, and veronica blooming in the back there as well, and it's looking really, really nice. I also have some fall sunflower that is blooming there. Everything is being overshadowed by these poppies, but I'm not complaining because they look stunning, and the other flowers don't seem to mind too much, so it's okay. So things here are looking a little bit dry, but it's okay. I'm expecting that because it's been so dry. So my hydrangeas here are not looking very happy. I've been moving some plants around, and I'm actually losing some of my plants. I actually had this hydrangea dying in a different spot, which I moved here because it was very unhappy, and I don't think it's happy with the move either. Probably wasn't the right time to move it, but I'm gonna see what it does. A lot of the endless summer ones are really, really sad in this weather as well, so there's not much I can do about it. I am watering them and I'm taking care of them, and we'll see what happens. I've been moving some of the hydrangeas and some of the plants from here because they were really suffering. But the hostas are looking good. They are looking lush, and they are doing their thing. It is it's been very hot and very dry. As you can see, the hostas are still doing okay. Some of the plants here are struggling, but we'll see what happens in the next few days. I'm going to actually this week try to put some mulch down, and hopefully that'll help with the water. And let me show you these beautiful lilies that have come into bloom here. Aren't they gorgeous? Just beautiful. Look at this. I don't know if you can see them in all the sun, but they are just beautiful. They are a glorious light baby pink color, which I love. It's a gorgeous colored lily, and they are looking pretty with the geranium roseanne. And lots of plants here are struggling to stay hydrated, but I think, when we do get some rain or some cooler weather, this should calm down and they will be okay. But I'm just making sure they are hydrated for now, and hopefully they'll recover. I do have a lot of veronica here as well that is coming into bloom. I don't know if you can see amongst all the sun, but they are pretty. And then lots more cornflowers to open here. I do have some fall sunflowers here that are blooming as well and looking really pretty. And then this bed here has a lot of tomatoes. Again, I couldn't resist buying more tomatoes because they were at such a good price. The sun. This is the Nigella seeds that I threw in here that are blooming, and they're looking really pretty. This is the Love in a Mist Nigella, and it's looking really gorgeous. I think I'm gonna have to wait for the sun to die down before I complete this tour because it is really sunny, and I don't know if you can see the flowers really well here. So here is another look at the garden. Lots and lots of sun here still, but I just want to take you through what's happening. Tomatoes, there's sunflowers that are growing, and looking forward to these blooming. I think these are the Van Gogh sunflowers, so I'm excited to see them bloom. And same here, there's lots of buds on my hydrangea prime. Excited to see this one bloom as well. And then let me take you through and show you what else is happening. There are some poppies that are blooming here as well. Lots of cornflowers coming into bloom. These are mostly white cornflowers that are coming into bloom, and they are so pretty. I love how they look. Um, and let me just go through here. Sorry, there's some barking noise in the background there. Lots of Rudbeckia that's blooming here as well. And I have a Summerific Holy Grail that is also going to bloom hopefully in the next few weeks. I also have a fall sunflower here that's blooming. It's looking so pretty with all the yellows, looking gorgeous. And then I do have some other perennials here that are blooming. I have yarrow that is blooming. This is more of a red, kind of a burgundy red colored yarrow, and I have a Russian sage here that's also coming into bloom. Yeah, lots of plants here are blooming. They need water, but they are blooming. What else is happening? So this garden is fairly newly planted. I moved some of my hydrangeas here, so I'm hoping that they do better in this spot. We'll see what happens. Things are very droopy here right now, but everything is struggling a little bit, but that's okay. I think once we get some rain, it will be nice and lush again, hopefully. So that's it. I wanted to take you along and show you what was happening in my garden today, this week, dealing with a lot of dry weather, lots of heat, and plants are struggling, but I'm going to keep watching them and make sure they're happy, and hopefully they'll get through this dry spell and come out okay. So with that, I wanted to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope everyone has a fabulous day wherever you're joining me from. Thank you again, and I'll catch you in my next video. Everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm out in my garden and it's shed painting day, and I wanted to show you what my shed looked like before I start painting so that you know what I'm starting with. In my earlier video, I'd asked for suggestions on paint colors for my shed, and I got lots of beautiful, lovely suggestions, and I actually went and picked a couple of colors that I will be using on the shed today, and I'll show you those colors when they're on. And I'm excited to kind of get this project underway and paint the shed. It's been on my project list for quite some time, and I really wanted to transform it. As you can see, I've been playing with different colors here, just with paints that I had inside, and trying to decide what color I'm going to paint it. So I've picked a beautiful teal color for the shed, and for the door, I have a beautiful lapis blue. So that is the plan right now to paint the shed. I will see once the color goes on how I feel about it. But I think they will be nice colors for the shed because they will make it very vibrant and beautiful. And I kind of wanted to go with something more fun as opposed to safe. And that's just what I wanted to do with the shed. So I'm going to get started painting. So what I did yesterday was I scrubbed down the entire shed with soap and water just to remove any surface dirt. So it's ready for painting today. It's a nice, beautiful, hot, sunny day. I'm ready for this project. Here's my little companion. I don't know how long he's gonna last in the heat, but he's here for the start. And maybe he'll be back for the finish. So again, I'm going to start working on it and start painting. It's so exciting to look at the before of something and then work on transforming it and seeing what it's going to look like after I'm done painting. So the roof, the top of the roof, I think I won't paint it because it's going to be very hard for me to access the middle. I mean, the edges I could access, but the middle is going to be very challenging. I tried cleaning the roof yesterday. I used a long mop for that, but I think that's the extent I will go for the roof, because you really can't see the roof unless you have an aerial view, which I won't ever have in this garden. So all the surfaces that I can see, I'm going to paint them, and I'll show you what it looks like once it's done, and maybe as I'm painting as well, I'll show you what it's going to look like.